to mid-80s with partly cloudy sky. We'll see some sunshine and a mix of clouds early on. Then as we get into the afternoon and into Tuesday night, we'll keep an eye out for an isolated storm chance. One or two of those could be on the strong or severe side. Damaging winds and small hail are main concern. That chance will carry over into our Wednesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Welcome to Community Centered, a show that features people in the community doing good things. Now, here are your hosts, Debbie O'Handley and Margi Kyle.
Welcome to Community Centered. Hello, my friend Margie. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Can't complain. Nobody listens.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it's all good. Very, very good. I was just commenting to our guest for our show today that I just left our new builds and there was someone riding their horse on the side of the road, and only in Huntersville, right? Can you go through traffic and roundabouts
I
and
would
then
love to be
someone's
doing that.
riding a horse? Me too. I was
Yeah.
almost like, let me pull the car over and get on the back end of that and just
I grew up
take
with
me
horses.
away. It really was a beautiful thing. Horses are beautiful animals, and
They're just big puppy dogs.
it really just set me in the right place to be
Yeah.
able to see that and just think about all that. You know, when you're sitting through traffic and all the other stuff that's going on, to see someone riding a horse on the side of the road, kind of cool.
Well, I was thinking that brings me to growing up. You know, usually your mothers teach you to be a lady, and
Mm-hmm.
I was at Bloomfield Hills Country Club on a horse with a gun shooting clay pigeons.
That a girl. Every week we do this. We learn something more about your character and who you are, and nothing will surprise me.
I thought to myself, what does this have to do with being a young lady?
Yeah.
But you know what? I loved it.
Annie Oakley,
Yeah.
good for you.
And my first date with Lee, who was a police officer, he put up all these beer cans, got his gun, and shot them all down. I said, put them back up there.
Atta girl.
I shot them all down, and he said, I will never argue with you.
I could see that. So what's new and happening in your life?
Well, I was fortunate enough to go to the Chamber of Commerce Women's Conference,
Mm-hmm.
and it was an exceptional one. Mamie Lee did a great job,
Mm-hmm.
and Leslie did, of course, as always. So did Bill Russell and that whole team. It was women living their dreams and telling their story. And you just left feeling grateful that you are living your story too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I had to be in an all-day training on affordable housing. Like, why do we need training on this? So I missed it, but I have heard really great things
Yeah.
and had a lot of
I mean,
people
I've been
tell
going
me.
for 30 years.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting better and better and better.
Every year,
Yeah.
it just, there's something more. Is more people want to be there and more people want to hear. And
Yeah.
telling our stories is so important and so significant now. And to have a captive audience of living and being in that sense with other women is powerful.
It was very encouraging to me as I was young
Mm-hmm.
and going through, running my own business, starting a nonprofit,
Sure.
doing that. And looking at it now as I have done everything and achieved all my goals, I'm
Mhm.
just living them out now. I look back and I kept watching the younger kids' faces
Yeah.
to hope that they were taking this in
Mm-hmm.
and saying, wow, if she could do this,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I do this little thing that I want to do?
Absolutely. To have a deep appreciation for that. Well, I remember one year we were seated with the folks from MSC, and afterward, we had such a great connection and such a great table that we got together once a month for the next year just to continue the
Oh, how
conversation.
wonderful.
It was really awesome.
Now, that's what it's all about.
It really
connecting.
was. It
Yeah.
was inspiring, and it was very supportive to know that these folks that we bonded over in this one afternoon
right.
we continued the relationship with, carrying on a friendship, which was wonderful. And then
Yeah.
COVID happened, and then,
Oh.
there goes everything, right?
That's right.
But it really was a
Well,
wonderful
I've taught
opportunity.
design all over North America. And the first thing I've always said to my students, a couple things you got to do. You either got to join a chamber,
Hmm.
join Rotary, join a club that's going to put you in with like-minded people.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of chamber, our guest today, I hope that we're going to learn all about all that there is to know about being a chamber member and about the chamber, because I think there's a lot of people that are still very confused about what they do and how they can get involved. I know there's a lot of groups, right, between Rotary, Kiwanis,
Yeah.
and Elks, all of those amazing groups that we have that are civic minded. People need to know what the chamber does and what
Yes.
the chamber can do for you. So I hope that our
But you
guest
got to be
today,
able to step up and do a little bit too.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But all the small businesses, big businesses,
Yeah.
whatever, if you need a networking group, chamber is the way to go. So I hope that those folks that are listening today,
Yeah.
if anybody wants to call in, 844-STUDIO-4, if they have a question for our guest today, Bill Russell, with the Chamber of Commerce here in the greater Lake Norman area. Or Margie or myself, Reese is standing by. Welcome back, Reese. We missed you last
We
week.
did.
We know that you weren't with us, and wasn't quite the same with Reese at the helm here. But yeah, no, I think that I think it's gonna be a great show today, all about the chamber. We get to do something. Bill has his own show, Talk
know
of the
he
Town,
does.
and he gets to interview a lot of people. But we get to interview him.
Well, I was honored that he even said he would
Yeah.
be on our show.
Let's try to stump him today. Okay? let's try to ask him something that nobody knows and that we will be the talk of the town after the show. I think that will be really interesting. But yeah, no, it's all good. All good.
Yeah.
We had our board meeting last night out at one of the new builds as we still wait for the town of Huntersville to release CO on them. And afterwards, Bob McIntosh, who was our board chair, and I walked around the property, and I got a deeper sense and grateful for some of the trees and the history of Huntersville walking with Bob. And Bob, identified a lot of the different trees. Once a Boy Scout or a Mason, always doing their work. And he had a lot to explain to me and talk to me about the trees. And I know that whoever is going to live in that house or on that property, I hope that they'll appreciate the value that's there, because that's some of the oldest property in Huntersville that
Isn't
we've
that
built on.
wonderful?
So to see these 100-year-old humongous trees, and to learn the history behind them was really, for me, it was all about Huntersville.
Now,
felt
where
kinda
I
good.
grew up, we were on an apple orchard.
Oh,
we had
cool.
over 100 and some apple trees.
Well, I learned
A lot of
the one,
apple pie.
I learned about the ones that I got to get rid of, which was identified to me, and then the others that are really good keepers, and the poplars and all of the other really cool trees that Huntersville. People, Bob is associated with Rural Hill too, and I think a lot of people don't know about them. We're trying to get them on the show, that people can understand the value of what this community has to offer in some beautiful space.
Absolutely.
We hear much too much about development and traffic and, noise and everything else. There's still some magnificent things that this community has to offer us. So I hope they
All
can
you
come
had to
on.
do was be at the Lake Norman Women's Conference
Yeah,
to see women helping other women
Which is-
any way they could.
which is incredible, because that's how we get better and stronger together.
That's
is
right.
Lifting each other up. So I'm glad that it was a wonderful success,
It
and I'm
was.
sad that I missed it. I wish they'd do that twice a year.
Oh,
I know it's
I'm
a
sure
lot of
they
work.
don't, but
You know what? I know it's a lot of work, but I think not everybody can hit the one date.
yeah.
And knowing way in advance when it is really helps. And I would have gladly given up a workshop on affordable housing in order to go there had I had enough time. So when we come back, we'll be introducing our guest today, Bill Russell with the Chamber. And again, if you have any calls or any questions, if you want to stump Mr. Russell too, our number is 844-STUDIO-4
I think
here,
that'd be
right
very
here
hard to do.
on Community Center. I don't know. We're going to try. We'll be back shortly after this word from our sponsors at the McIntosh Law Firm.
Spotlight and kindness, one story at a time. It's community centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle, presented by the McIntosh Law Firm on WSIC.
Well, another warm day for our Tuesday as temperatures climb back into the low to mid 80s with a partly cloudy sky. We'll see some sunshine and a mix of clouds early on. Then as we get into the afternoon and into Tuesday night, we'll keep an eye out for an isolated storm chance. One or two of those could be on the strong or severe side. Damaging winds and small hail are main concern. That chance will carry over into our Wednesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Listen, save, enjoy. The WSIC app, available now in your app store.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday night, Trial by Fire performs at Langtree Live in Mooresville. This Journey tribute band takes the outdoor stage at 7 p.m. for a free concert. Take exit 31 off I-77 and come join the party at Langtree Live in Mooresville on Thursday. Live music and great cocktails are ready for you at Bin 110 in Cornelius. Thursday, May 22nd features the Pluto for Planet duo. And on Friday night, Hey Ladies performs. The staff is eager to welcome you in for your favorite drinks from the bar and shareable plates from the kitchen. Bin 110 in Cornelius is ready for you. The Live Under the Oaks concert series at Brookdale Village in Huntersville continues Friday night with Matt Stratford. Matt's vocals and guitar playing begin at 6 p.m. on the stage in the plaza. Enjoy Matt Stratford Friday at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. The 500 Club presents live music on Sunday with a Memorial Day weekend music festival. The show begins at 2 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. Call 704-872-9990 for more information. Golfing, food, beverages, and entertainment are all at the 500 Club in Statesville. The countdown is on for NASCAR's big showdown at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. Friday features an ARCA and Truck Series doubleheader. Saturday, the Xfinity Series competes in the BetMGM 300. Sunday is NASCAR's longest race, the Coca-Cola 600. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for ticket and camping information. NASCAR is back at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Shining a light on who's making a difference. It's Community Centered, hosted by Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. I am so excited to be here with our special guest, who I'll share with you in a minute. If you have a nonprofit that you would love to be on our show, we're every Tuesday from 3 to 4. Let us know, and we'll work you in. We all are doing such amazing things around the lake that we want to share it with all of you. Now, as Debbie said, Bill Russell is our guest, President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. I've known Bill for 30 years.
Did you want
We
to
grew
admit
up
that?
together. He is not only the man in the know, but he is the man in town to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just shared with him, he is in my living room, and I look at your picture every day and grateful for all the things that you have done for all the people, not only our community, but our businesses and our nonprofits. And the other thing that you do here at WSIC is you have your own radio show. Tell us a little bit about that, Town Talk.
Yeah, I got approached by Justin 2 years ago, I guess, and asked if I would do a show on Wednesdays that would spotlight nonprofits, but businesses, community leaders, things that are going on downtown and our town halls that are impacting business and commerce. And so I've been happy to do it. I think it's been going up might be going up for 3 years now. Ever since Justin's had the radio show.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Town Talk, every Wednesday, 4 to 5.
Well, I know when I first moved here 30 years ago, and my husband had always heard me tell everybody, when you move or you start a business, the first thing you do is join the Chamber of Commerce. We hadn't even gotten out of the car, and I said, I'm going to find the chamber to sign up, which I did. And
What year was that?
91, 92.
Okay, so
yeah.
you predated me. I got here in 96. You were one of the first people that I did meet. You were one of our ambassadors.
Yes, I was.
Of the Chamber of Commerce. Deb, she would go out and welcome the new members that had joined the Chamber of Commerce, delivering them a plaque that said member of the Chamber. And, of course, met Margie and Pat Rydell and a whole host of other people who were very involved in our Chamber of Commerce back then.
Yeah. And then I started to work with Scott Hinkle.
Right. Good friend of mine.
Yeah. And that was a bad loss, too.
Yeah, Scott was
he did so much for
the publisher of Lake Norman Times newspaper. He was my board chair in 1999, and he was more. And you probably feel this way about Bob McIntosh. Bob was my past board chair as well, but Scott transcended being just a board chair. He became almost like a brother to me. I mean, we were not related, but we were as close as you could be. And it was funny. I'm this conservative Republican, and Scott was quite progressive on his social issues, but yet we came together and had like mind on a lot of things. And he is someone that I've always respected and surely miss.
Yes. Yeah. And I love the fact that you could have your beliefs.
Sure.
And yet have a wonderful working relationship and a friendship.
You know, it's funny. Scott had this impression of Bill Clinton. I can't possibly do it, but Scott would stick out his thumb and then poke out his lip, and then he would say, "I always believe in a place called hope." And he would do it in the best Bill Clinton impersonation you could. I mean, he was a dead ringer for that line, and I always believe in a place called hope.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
For those listeners that don't know what the chamber is, Bill, or what they do,
Yeah.
can you make that clear for them?
Sure. The Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, we're about 850 businesses, primarily in Cornelius, Davidson, Huntersville, Mooresville, Denver, so the greater Lake Norman region. We don't represent one town, so we're not the Cornelius Chamber or the Huntersville Chamber. We are the Lake Norman Chamber. So if you do business in and around the lake, people get involved. And the Chamber of Commerce, and pretty much in any area, whether you're involved in Statesville or Cabarrus or Lincoln County, a Chamber of Commerce primarily does three things. Number one, we promote your business. I mean, we're going to go out there and encourage people to shop and work with you as a local business owner. We're going to put on programs. So we're going to serve your business. We're going to put on networking programs, professional development seminars, and things like that that are going to give you exposure so you can add contacts to your database and have more people that you're doing business with. And then the last thing, and probably not the reason that most people join, but we represent your business. We're the voice of business. And so, Margie, if you're fixing to create a new store and it's not zoned for that, we'll go out and speak on behalf of that. You were talking about things that you're doing at the Hope House. You know, we will go out and work with our local county and state officials and federal officials to make sure that we're the voice of that business and doing things that they may not be able to do on their own. And when you bring the power of 850 businesses together, people like Raleigh, listen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think your motto is connect, engage, inspire.
Sure. Yeah.
Why the chamber for you, Bill? Why did you get involved?
But you were in the furniture business to begin with.
Well, it really started when I was just a little toddler. My mother was very active in the March of Dimes, MDA. She was also PTA, so she was and she was involved in something called the JCETs, or at that time was the JC Women. They had their own organization. So, you know, Margie, you and I are in Rotary together, but there was a time when Rotary, Sertomas, Lions, JCs, each had their independent organization. Yeah. And so Mom was very active in the JC Women. Dad was very active in the JCs. But he wasn't just in JCs. He was in Kiwanis. He was chairman of the United Way, chairman of the Red Cross. Yeah. He was chairman of Little League Baseball, treasurer in the church. So, I mean, he was involved in so much, both of them really. And I once asked my father, I said, why do you do all that? And he said, there's a verse in Matthew, is let your light so shine to show your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And my dad explained it this way. God gives each of us certain unique gifts that we have. and how we use them is our gifts back to God. So,
Beautifully said.
so I mean, from the very time that I graduated from high school, I did went to college, and then I was an office supply salesperson at Harper Brothers. But I also got very involved civically in the JCs, which is also the Junior Chamber of Commerce, and so I did service work. And then I had no master plan. I mean, people would stop me and say, "You became president of the United States JCs. I guess you planned that from the early onset." No, I
didn't even know who they were.
I didn't. I wanted to be president of my dad's local JC chapter, just like he was.
Yeah.
And then a position came open to run for a state director, and so I did that. And then state president, I did that. And then there was this opportunity to be a national vice president. I'm going like, nobody from Rocky had ever done that. So sure, I'll try to do that. I got elected that. And then they had said, you can't be national president. There would be no option. And so I said, okay, but then some doors opened, and I ran for national president, got elected to that.
Yeah.
And after
your parents have always been your mentors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But having traveled to 47 states and 8 countries through the JCs, then once I got out of doing that, that's a 1-year gig, I wanted to, do something that was very similar, and Chamber of Commerce was very similar to what I was doing in terms of community service. So there was an opening at that time down near Charleston, South Carolina, in St. George. So I became the first executive director of the Tri-County Regional Chamber. And then in 1996, an opening came available here for what was called the North Mecklenburg Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
It wasn't Lake Norman. It was North Mecklenburg, Cornelius Davis, and Huntersville. Mm-hmm. And so I applied for this position and was hired. And you mentioned Scott Hinkle. In 1999, I had gone to, and you'll know these names, I had gone to David Christenberry in 97 and said, North Mecklenburg. Most people don't know where North Mecklenburg even is.
It doesn't exist.
And why don't we change it to Lake Norman? And he said, I can't do that. And so then Donna Moffett was the next chair. And I said, what about changing it to Lake Norman? And she said, we can't do that. People like John Cherry and some of those people, no, it's North Mecklenburg. So then I approached Scott Hinkle, and he was sitting on a couch drinking a Heineken.
Okay.
And I said, well, what if we change the name to Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce? And of course, he was the publisher of the Lake Norman Times. He said, Lake Norman Times, Lake Norman Chamber, it sings, doesn't it? And so we changed the name to Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce to be more inclusive.
Sure.
Because you know where Lake Norman is. Mm-hmm. You got that one. So it was for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How many, over the course of your tenure or your commitment to this community, how many businesses do you think you've helped promote, open?
I don't know. I've always felt like I was the guy. I don't have the answer, but I know the people who do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Deb comes to me with a particular issue or a problem, I may not be able to tell you how to solve it, but I can put you in contact with somebody who can. Mm-hmm. And yes, I've seen a lot of people who were struggling that they didn't know where they were going to turn. And so we might have been able to get them a relationship with SCORE, the Senior Corps of Retired Executives. Mm-hmm. Might have been able to touch base with Small Business Administration or angel investors or people of that nature that can help get them back on their feet and put them in the right direction. And I've seen a lot of people grow their business through the Chamber of Commerce. Good friend of mine, John Hetwer, would tell you that, he's a payroll company, I think all 50 states now. But at one point, most of his clients were Lake Norman people that he had met through the Chamber of Commerce.
That's incredible. I just think about the impact.
I know.
We talk about that every
it.
time, right?
Yeah.
You throw a rock out into the lake and the ripples that go and go and go. But the network that you've created and the support that you've created for small businesses, big businesses, it doesn't matter. It's just incredible. And I think it is very encouraging to know that this is such a generous, loving, compassionate, kind community. That we lift each other up.
And I would love when we come back to talk about Kiwanis.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Yes.
What you started there for the young adults with difficulties.
Yeah, special needs.
I think when we come back from break, which is going to happen here any minute now, we will be talking again with Bill Russell. And if you have any questions that come up, 844-STUDIO-4, we're waiting for your call. We'll be right back.
Good news lives here. It's community centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, another warm day for our Tuesday as temperatures climb back into the low to mid 80s with a partly cloudy sky. We'll see some sunshine and a mix of clouds early on. Then as we get into the afternoon and into Tuesday night, we'll keep an eye out for an isolated storm chance. One or two of those could be on the strong or severe side. Damaging winds and small hail are main concern. That chance will carry over into our Wednesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshlawfirm.com.
It's time for your pre-summer tune-up. For over 40 years, Horn Heating and Air Conditioning has been the trusted local service, keeping the Lake Norman area cool and comfortable. Schedule your summer HVAC checkup now. Experience the refreshing feeling of at hornhvac.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Is your yard ready for a refresh? Drum Landscape Supply has over 10 types of mulch, beautiful boulders, decorative gravel, and a unique plant nursery bursting with shrubs, trees, and perennials. Call today for up to 70% off pavers and stone. Visit drumlandscapesupply.com today.
Are you sick of running out of hot water? Whether it's in the middle of a shower or doing dishes, cold water's never fun. Say goodbye to those surprises with a Rinnai tankless water heater from GMV Energy. This energy-efficient propane-powered solution heats water instantly, so you'll never run out again. Plus, it saves money and frees up space. Propane models start at just $295 after rebates. Visit any G&V Energy location or gbenergy.com to learn more.
Yeehaw for rodeo season at Harrison's, the home of work, western, and wow. Whether you compete or cheer from the stands, Harrison has the looks to help you wow the crowd. Get western classics in the latest styles from Harriet, Cinch, Rock and Roll Denim, and Wrangler. Find us in Mooresville.
Caring for a sick child or aging parent? Visit equityhealthcares.com. They bring expert, personalized care wherever you need it. In office, virtually, or at your home. Equity Health Primary Care or healthcare that fits your life? Visit equityhealthcares.com.
What says I love you more than a beautifully organized home? Join Closets by Design as we celebrate Mom all month long with custom projects, free consultation, and a huge 40% off. Plus, mention this ad and get an extra 15% off just for Mom. ClosetsByDesign.com.
24/7 worldwide, non-stop.
WSIC.
Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Jean maker Levi Strauss is shedding the khakis. It says it's selling its Dockers brand to Authentic Brands Group for $311 million. Authentic is the name behind brands like Champion, Eddie Bauer, Izod, and Aero. Victoria's Secret is taking steps to protect itself from a hostile takeover from an activist investor, BBRC International, that now owns about 13% of the company. The maker of women's lingerie is creating what's known as a poison pill that will let shareholders buy stock at a 50% discount if any one investor accumulates 15% or more of the company's outstanding shares. Nintendo has turned to Samsung to help make the main chips for the Switch 2. The move could help Nintendo ramp up production of the gaming machine enough to sell more of the units than expected. Markets still in the red and are down between 0.6 and 0.7%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Home of the best talk.
WSIC. Local starts here.
Real people making a real impact. The McIntosh Law Firm brings you community-centered, right here on WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. We are here with Bill Russell, who is the president of the Chamber of Commerce and also past president of LKN Kiwanis, another group that I wish I had time in the day to be part of. But you started the Action Club.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Action Club is a group of adults 18 years of age or older that have special needs.
Yeah.
And it's something that our Kiwanis Club sponsors. And we meet at the Chamber of Commerce typically on the fourth Friday of every month. Although this month we will not be meeting this Friday because it's Memorial Day weekend. So instead, we went to an ice cream social at Handel's last Friday night. And you don't have to twist any arms to get the young people to go to Handel's ice cream.
That was it.
Oh, it was absolutely delicious. But we had a fantastic time. Sometimes we'll go to spare time and go bowling and things of that nature. But often we meet at the Chamber of Commerce in the Randy Marion boardroom upstairs, 7 o'clock on the fourth Friday of every month.
And Pat Jackson makes chili.
Pat Jackson will from Allen Tate. He's master title. He will make chili in February, and sometimes we'll order pizzas and do things of that nature. But yeah, it's a great group of people.
It is, and I know Adam and Donna love Little Smiles, and
Oh,
they're
yeah,
always
right.
talking about you. And
Right.
I need to come out and go bowling, and I thought, no, I don't.
We have on June 21st. We have a Kiwanis member, Larry Mann, that is sponsoring
Yes.
a trip to the Knights baseball game.
Oh, what
So
fun.
he won in Rotary. We have the pot where you can you can get 50% of the pot. Well, in Kiwanis, we let it go up and you pull cards and see if you can win that way. Larry gave his whole winnings to paying for 20 tickets for those special needs adults to be able to go to
That
the
is
ball game
beautiful.
without
Good
any
deal.
cost.
Yeah.
Good deal. That's amazing. Tell us, what is Kiwanis?
Kiwanis is a service organization, much like the JCs or Rotary. It basically is an organization that works really closely with kids. But we do a number of projects in the community. It could be sometimes going out at Christmas time, making sure that families have something to eat for Christmas. Again, a lot of service projects that are done. It's very much like any of the other service organizations. I've been a member since 2001.
Yeah.
Where do you find the time to be a part of all these amazing?
But that's what I love about Bill.
Yeah.
He makes the time.
Yes, that's amazing.
You know, again, it's something that I enjoy doing. I'm involved in Rotary because it was something that early on a lot of our Chamber of Commerce members were involved in.
Yes.
Rotary was actually started by the Chamber of Commerce. John Cherry in 1987 started our Chamber of Commerce, but just a few years later, Pat Baker and Randy Ford and John Cherry, some of the others, started our first Rotary Club up here.
Okay.
So I'm involved in it largely because of the Chamber of Commerce. Kiwanis is something I do because my father, again, was involved in Kiwanis.
Yeah.
And so I got involved in it, and it's been very rewarding. Both of them, are something that if you're interested in your community and trying to improve yourself, the Kiwanis and the Rotary are two organizations you should look at.
Well, my father was president of Rotary in
Mhm.
Michigan, and he said to me, as soon as they let women in, that's the next thing you do. And he always said, too, Chamber's the first.
So Rotary was a men only?
It was.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We've come a long way.
We have.
Baby. For sure. Well, Bill, it's mind-blowing the amount of lives that you've touched in businesses as well. And I'm so impressed by the dedication and commitment you have to your community.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredible. Everywhere you go, there's Bill Russell, right? He's always
but
there.
he will always make the time to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is incredible.
That's
And
right.
I imagine there are some businesses that probably reach out to you an awful lot that say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or do I need this, or how can you help me with that? I think
Sure.
that's really an honor to be a leader of that kind that can reach those that need it.
Well, at the end of our time on this earth, we look back and what impact did you make, and it doesn't matter how big a house you had or how many cars or boats. It's the impact you made on other lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a responsibility to leave things better than we found it.
Absolutely.
And I can see that it starts with parenting.
Oh, absolutely. In my case,
Because,
yes.
you know, in your case, your parents made such a
Sure.
difference in you. And mine did. My father was such an inspiration.
Can we get back to that? Get back to parenting.
Okay.
Parenting in general. Just, I think we need to bring it back. Old style parenting.
Oh, okay.
You know, conversations around the table without a telephone.
That's
and
right.
Being,
Yeah.
You know, family game night and all that kind of stuff. I think it would do our world a lot of good.
Oh, I do too.
If we brought that back.
I do too.
I could say other things, but I won't. So I know we try at Hope House to do that, to you
Yeah.
know, to introduce what that looks like and to put your phones aside and have a, you know, mommy and me play date or whatever. Just get back to the basics.
That's right.
Which
Yeah.
would be a good old fashioned thing to do.
That's right.
And what an organization you have, Deb. I mean, the first time I went to the Hope House, you know, I was totally unfamiliar with what they did. And Deb was sharing that there literally are people, whether they're teachers or professionals in our area, who were sleeping in their car and had a YMCA membership or something, or a fitness gym, and that's where they would shower.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a place to go. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
crazy.
actual
It's
people
crazy.
in our community.
You know, when you talk about homelessness, it always leads to two things, right? An awareness of what's happening in our community, and then the call to action.
Right.
How can I help? But people aren't familiar of the kind of folks that we have at Hope House. They always think of homeless. You get a vision in your head. But when you talk that you have a Wells Fargo investment banker living there, or you have an attorney whose, you know, business collapsed and marriage collapsed, or you have a CMS teacher or someone in the medical field. We had someone that graduated Saturday with her nursing degree, so yay for her.
Yes.
And off to an amazing career ahead of her, already has a job at the Sanger Heart Clinic. The opportunity to build your life over again and transform it. I stand in awe of what I do, of the people there who have to humble themselves.
That's right.
To come here. And I don't know, Bill, if you're aware of our new builds that the 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes that we've done off of Beatty's Ford Road and Hambright, that we are patiently waiting for the town of Huntersville. So any pull you have there, feel free to jump in and say, sign this, because it's not publicly announced yet what we're going to be doing with them, but I think you're going to be really significantly impressed on the
That's
folks
exciting.
that we've chosen to go in there. And I actually have an interview coming up with one of them who was referred to us from one of our guests that we had on the show. So
Yes.
it's kind of an exciting time for us, and really the opportunity to give people a chance again and to be a source of support to them is probably the feeling you have every day, where you, at the end of the night, you lay your head down and you say, you know what, I did good today. I helped my brother. I helped someone who was struggling with something. And it's such a good feeling to know that you make that kind of impact.
You know, when you ride by one of the high schools, when I got here, Pat, we had one school, North Mecklenburg High School.
That's
Margie,
right.
and it serviced the whole. Now we literally have Huff and Hopewell, and it was, you know, we played a role in that. All of us played a role in that, and so when you see that, you go like, gosh, that's so rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, our new builds back up to the football field at Hopewell, which is kind of cool to be there on a Friday night to hear all that. But then down the road from it is the new Aspire Trade
Right,
School,
yeah.
which is like, how incredible is that we have that in our community? And then there's a school for special needs and autism, the Hallowell School. So, I mean, this is a blessed community of all the great support we have here.
And I think our last 15 minutes, because this time is flying by, I would love to have Bill talk about what he does and what the chamber does for other nonprofits too.
Absolutely, I think that would be a good conversation. But let's also find out, what does Bill Russell do for fun? How does he relax with all of this civic work and amazing impact that he does?
He goes and rides a horse with his mother.
I want to hear all about that.
Do radio shows.
Yes, I know, right? We all talk about that, right? This is our bright spot in our week to do the radio show. But when we come back, we're talking with Bill Russell of the Lake Norman Chamber here on Community Centered. We'll be back shortly.
good news lives here. It's community-centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, another warm day for our Tuesday as temperatures climb back into the low to mid-80s with partly cloudy sky. We'll see some sunshine and a mix of clouds early on. Then as we get into the afternoon and into Tuesday night, we'll keep an eye out for an isolated storm chance. One or two of those could be on the strong or severe side. Damaging winds and small hail are main concern. That chance will carry over into our Wednesday. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday night, Trial by Fire performs at Langtree Live in Mooresville. This Journey tribute band takes the outdoor stage at 7 p.m. for a free concert. Take exit 31 off I-77 and come join the party at Langtree Live in Mooresville on Thursday. Live music and great cocktails are ready for you at Bin 110 in Cornelius. Thursday, May 22nd features the Pluto for Planet duo. And on Friday night, Hey Ladies performs. The staff is eager to welcome you in for your favorite drinks from the bar and shareable plates from the kitchen. Bin 110 in Cornelius is ready for you. The Live Under the Oaks concert series at Brookdale Village in Huntersville continues Friday night with Matt Stratford. Matt's vocals and guitar playing begin at 6 p.m. on the stage in the plaza. Enjoy Matt Stratford Friday at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. The 500 Club presents live music on Sunday with a Memorial Day weekend music festival. The show begins at 2 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. Call 704-872-9990 for more information. Golfing, food, beverages, and entertainment are all at the 500 Club in Statesville. The countdown is on for NASCAR's big showdown at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. Friday features an ARCA and Truck Series doubleheader. Saturday, the Xfinity Series competes in the BetMGM 300. Sunday is NASCAR's longest race, the Coca-Cola 600. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for ticket and camping information. NASCAR is back at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Real people making a real impact. The McIntosh Law Firm brings you community-centered, right here on WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. You're listening to Community Centered. I'm your host, Debbie O'Hanley, with my friend Margi Kyle, and we want to give a shout out to the McIntosh Law Firm. What a magnificent person that Bob McIntosh is, and he leads a wonderful firm of very committed attorneys that reach out to most of the nonprofit world and have some kind of a give back. So thank you once again for the work that they do. So Bill, we've talked about Kiwanis, we've talked about the Action Club, we've talked about the Chamber. What does Bill Russell do for fun besides all that other stuff? You can't say that. But
besides doing the radio shows,
how do you relax? Where do you find the time to just let loose and build up your stamina to keep doing this?
Well, I'll answer that. But you were talking about McIntosh. Not only was Bob McIntosh my board chair, but next year my board chair is going to be Leah Trowbridge from the McIntosh Law Firm. I don't know if either one of you knew that. Yes. So again, a big shout out to McIntosh Law Firm for sharing their talent. What do I do for fun? I have a farm in Rock Hill, South Carolina that goes back to 1769. I was sharing that it was the Boggs family, and the Atkins married the Boggs, and the Russells married the Atkins, and so it goes back a long way. So I only have a small sliver of 18 acres left that's mine, but I have cousins to the left of me and cousins to the right of me and cousins behind me. So it's still all in the family out there. And go there. So this weekend I'll be gardening. We have a garden. We just got the hay cut. That's they're going to be rounding that up and baling that up this weekend. We have all manner of cows and horses and donkeys and chickens and all that really is my cousin's. His wife is Ellie Mae Clampett, so she has one of everything.
There really is a Clampett out there.
Literally, Margie, I'm sitting in my kitchen the other day and I heard this bang, and I was like, what the heck? And one of the goats had gotten into the backyard and was walking down beside the house, and I was going to call my cousin. One of your goats got out, and that goat slid up under the fence and went back under and joined the rest of the goats. Yeah, off they went. So, I go down the farm and I'll tell you this, sitting on the back deck of looking there, that is the only thing I'm 65. That is the only thing in my life that hasn't changed. The view I see from on that deck is the same view that was there when I was 5 years old.
Oh my
gosh. And the same sound. So when you hear all of these sounds, the owls and things in the woods at night, I love the raised windows because I can hear there's 3 different owls. And they all have distinct sounds, and I'm just listening to that all night long. And it's just really cool.
Recharge your batteries.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does.
That's amazing. And of course, Henry comes with you, right?
Sometimes, I mean, he goes with his mom to Charleston, so he's also a coast dog. So, and you mentioned riding on that big horse was sometimes they confuse my Old English sheepdog as a horse. Yeah, right. He's a big boy.
He is.
He lives a charmed life.
He's a rescue.
Yeah, is he really?
Yeah, he was an abused puppy. We got him from the Tar Heeled Old English Sheepdog group. That he was a puppy that had been abused, and Susan was contacted, and we took him in. She was just going to foster him. The reason his name is Henry is we renamed him Henry for Henry VIII, because that's the 8th dog that she's either owned or fostered.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
owned 3 sheepdogs, and she's fostered 5.
Wow.
And and now I can't even imagine us not having taken him in.
He's a character.
Oh, he's a wonderful dog.
It's kind of your signature calling card.
I had somebody came in the chamber yesterday. You mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. Somebody came in and said, "Where's Henry?" And they said, "I came down here to see Henry." I said, "He's in Charleston."
Now, if any of you out there own a nonprofit, every other month, Bill, you have a meeting
Sure.
for nonprofits, which I think everybody should know about.
Yep.
And you don't have to be a member of the
Nope,
chamber. It will serve you well if you are. But tell us a little bit about that.
And it may have been because of Debbie. I literally, Deb, I don't know if you know, I got invited to 3 gala events on one weekend. It was 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. 3 very prominent nonprofits in Lake Norman invited me to come to their gala events. And I'm going like, I can't do 3. There's just no way. And plus, you're usurping each other. You're taking away from each other.
Yeah.
So about 12 years ago, we started getting all of our nonprofits together, whether they're members of the Chamber of Commerce or not, to explain, who we are, what we do, and what are the upcoming programs that we have. So hopefully the Hope House is not hosting their gala event the same night that Ada Jenkins is hosting their event. You don't want to go head to head with, and because many times you're trying to get sponsors, the same sponsors. So we try to get people together on a quarterly basis, and we go around the room and explain who we are. And you'd be surprised that somebody from, for instance, Ada Jenkins may not know what Beds for Kids does.
That's right. Yeah.
And, so you have various organizations, and you may not know. Some people may not know that Habitat will take in this type of product, but they won't take in that. So they might not take in mattresses or mirrors, but a Beds for Kids absolutely would. So that's why we started that.
Yeah, well, it's a great place to communicate and share with like-minded people who are trying to do something and make a difference in the community. Yeah.
It's so little time to network with each other that when you're in the same room, it's a nice
wonderful.
opportunity.
Yeah.
That's what we said that about the Peninsula Community Foundation volunteer fair that they had. It was so nice to be in a room with our, non-for-profit brothers and sisters to say, hey, get me updated. What's going on? And just have that conversation.
That's
and
right.
Even get to the part of talking about what's hard, which is really important too, that we lift each other up and talk each other.
But I'd be remiss if I also didn't thank you for what you're doing. I've talked about Deb, but Little Smiles and the volunteers and the role that your volunteers play. I mean, none of our organizations, the Chamber, Hope House, Little Smiles, we couldn't do what we do if we didn't have the volunteers out there and the boards
absolutely.
that work on our behalf. And again, people like Bob and your board of directors open up doors of opportunity and pockets that you and I couldn't get into, but they can. So hats off to you for Little Smiles and for the impact that you've made over your 30, 40 years here in Lake Norman, Pat. I said Pat. I've said that now twice, Margie. We were talking about Pat Rytle a while ago. Now she's on my brain now.
Oh, that's awesome. I had an experience today at Hope House, Bill, that you're talking about. A gentleman came, he said, I'm a veteran, moving down to Florida. Do you want these pots and pans? And I said, well, sure, we'll take them because you never know. I never turn a donation down because you never know someone's going to need it. And so he got to talking to me and he said, what else do you need? Because we're about ready to move. Can I bring you other things? And I told him about the new builds and he said, give me an hour. I'm going to run to Target. I'm going to get you 2 new sets of pots and pans for those 2 new houses that you built. And it's like just a stranger that came, stopped by, offered his used pots and pans, but then became 2 new sets of pots and pans because he heard
one
the
of the
story.
first shows we did, you were getting a new baby in the house. So I said, Debbie needs a crib, needs sheets, needs food, needs bottles. By the time the show was over, we had that house done.
We had it all. We had everything that we needed for that family. And that's
ask.
And it's just the generosity of this, community that's committed to making hope happen or to putting a smile on a child's face or bringing people together to network. We all work together for the greater good of God and the glory, and He gets the glory for sure on that.
That's right.
But we're honored that you spent this time with us because I know you're a busy man. I'm looking also at your Mason ring, so that means you're also a Mason. So you must go to a Mason meeting too. So I'm trying to think of what does Bill Russell's calendar look like?
And we talked about Bob. Bob is my coach. Bob McIntosh was my coach. Gene Medlin raised me, and my grandfather. That's his ring. Actually, this ring is my great uncle's ring that he was in the Masons. Wow. And then when he passed, my grandfather took off his blue ring and put this ring on. So Masons in my family.
I have my great grandfather's Mason ring that I gave to Bob recently because I said it doesn't mean anything to me. I know it does to y'all. And he said, you know what? There's somebody that this is going to be significant for, so I gave it to him. And I'm just thinking about your calendar, Bill. Where does all this fit in and still have time to listen to those owls and get your batteries charged so that you can continue to carry on and do the work.
That's where he gets his batteries filled.
Absolutely.
To the light. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any plans for retirement?
Maybe March of 2030.
Oh,
March of 2030. I'd be 70 years old, but I still have some time here at the chamber. I love what I do. I mean, when I got to tell you, I leave out from the farm Monday at 8 o'clock, and I get up here usually about 9:30. But I will tell you, there's Mondays at 8 o'clock. I'm going, why am I leaving this? Mm-hmm. But when I get here and the impact that we're making and the things that I'm doing, as long as my body holds out and my board allows me to do it, 'cause this isn't my chamber of commerce. I work at the direction of the board of directors.
That's right.
And as long as they allow me to do it, I have a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And also know that we do impact people. I mean, it's rewarding to think that you're playing a role. And we talked about young people. If we can mentor another young person who goes off and becomes our community and our business leader,
that's right.
That's so rewarding.
Isn't there a young?
We have a great young professionals organization here. Just got through doing a fundraiser themselves and for Pat's Place a while back. Very active organization,
and
we also
started one too.
And we have a Leadership Lake Norman program that is having a graduation this coming Thursday, and then we'll put in another class of Leadership Lake Norman. Been going on since 1997.
That's cool. How would someone get in touch with you?
Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. Just Google Lake Norman Chamber or www.lakenormanchamber.org.
That's cool. You heard it here first. That's amazing. Well,
if you have, you've been missing a lot.
Yeah, you've been a delight to have on.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for entertaining us and giving us the 411 on how to get involved in this community. And stop by the Lake Norman Chamber. Isn't there?
Absolutely.
There's some merch in there, and there's a lot of pamphlets and information. You'll learn more about your community if you're new here.
That's right.
You'll want to stop in there and get involved. This is the best way to feel good about what you're doing in your lifetime.
Absolutely.
Is make a difference. So again, thank you, Bill, for being a guest
Thank
here
you, Deb.
today on Community Centered. Margie, have a fabulous, golf tournament coming up on
That's
Friday, right?
Yes.
Well, good luck. I'll pray for good weather and a lot of generous hearts.
Good.
We'll see you next week here on Community Centered.
serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville, W260